Have you ever heard someone tell you to like sit with your feelings and like feel your feelings? And you're like, I don't know what that means. Well, if that's you, that's what we're going to be talking about today on Boldly Different Conversations with Bree. So what does it actually mean to sit with your feelings? Like what is that process? What does that look like? As someone who is a recovering people pleaser and who is someone who identifies on the Enneagram as a 3-wing 2, this can be something that can be a hurdle for some people. As an Enneagram 3, I am someone who likes to box up my feelings and only take them out when appropriate, in appropriate places where I cannot be hurt by my feelings, or someone else can't hurt me with the feelings that I'm feeling. So I want to unpack today, what does it actually mean to sit with those feelings? How do we actually sit with a feeling? And I think something that we need to remember is that this is kind of a mindset thing. We can ask ourselves when we are in some kind of like, when we're having some kind of a response to a situation, a person, a relationship, something going on, and we just feel something that is not just our normal baseline. It's either high or it's low. We can change our mindset about those feelings and how to actually like feel them out and sit with them. And so a question that I like to ask myself is, what feeling am I trying to escape? So, because oftentimes we do this with negative feelings the most, is when we don't want to sit with a feeling. A lot of times, like, we're like, oh yeah, I'll sit with joy. Sitting with joy is fun. But sitting with, anger or bitterness or fear or, the negative kind of feelings, we're trying to escape them. So like when we're like doing so we're doing activities that are going to numb us from feeling that feeling. So for me, it's emotionally eating. So eating like sweets or eating things that I don't really need. I don't need those calories. I don't need that food, but like it numbs the pain. Or it could be listening to music constantly, or it could be watching TV, movies, playing video games. It could be working, becoming a workaholic, drinking alcohol, smoking marijuana, or using other kinds of drugs. It could be shopping. It could be being a workaholic, just working all the time. And so what we do is we don't want to feel. And so our brain is trying to protect us from those feelings. So we go do these other things and kind of basically disassociate from the feeling. And so what I've been doing, the question that I ask myself a lot of times is, when I find myself doing specific activities that I have been able to understand these are my avoidant activities, is what feeling am I trying to escape or outrun? Because that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to outrun a certain feeling. And so that's what it means by sitting with the feeling. As first, we have to figure out, what feeling am I trying to escape? Like, what feeling am I trying to not feel, because it feels gross and I don't like it and I don't want to deal with it. The brain is like saying, let's avoid this. Let's not feel this. So, we can feel it out. The brain is telling us, let's feel it out by being a workaholic, by working out. Sometimes it's like a positive thing, like working out, we work out too much, or we're working really hard on our business. And so we become a workaholic. So let's do this thing this is how we're going to feel it out. But that's not how we actually feel it out. We're just avoiding the actual feelings. So to sit with it then means to be able to identify what that feeling is. And so when we identify like a feeling of fear or feeling scared, we then ask ourselves, after we've identified, oh, I'm scared, to sit with it means to feel it in our body. Where in my body is scared? What does it feel like? What do I notice about this feeling of being scared? What is the texture or the color of being scared for me? And so it's usually people will feel certain feelings in their body in certain areas. And then we label it, and like for me, when I'm afraid, that feeling is in my chest. That's where I feel fear the most, is in my chest, like my lower chest, upper stomach area. And so once I'm able to label, oh, that's fear that I'm feeling, it feels like a pressure, like an elephant sitting on my chest and like a bunch of butterflies flying around it, and mad butterflies, not like cute, pretty butterflies, like too many butterflies. and it feels like it's swirling, and it's like dark, like a dark sky swirling. That's what fear feels like for me. And so I kind of texturized it, colored it, labeled it, given it a conceptual thought, or what it looks like visually, and what it feels like physically. And so then I can recognize what that feeling is again at another time. And so I'm going to let that feeling be there. I'm not going to try to like push it away, because that's what we've all been taught, is push the feeling away so that you can keep moving on and living and doing the things that you want and need to do, right? Instead of taking the time to actually just sit with that feeling of fear, of being scared inside my upper belly, lower chest area. And I just let that feeling sit there. We've been taught to push it down and to get away from these feelings. So, what happens when we push it down or we try to outrun it is it's like holding a beach ball underwater. Have you ever done this before, where like you take a beach ball or like some kind of inflated ball and you try to hold it under the water? What happens? That beach ball wants to get up. It wants to just get out of the water. And so you struggle. You like have to like put all of your weight on it, right? So that's what we're doing when we're pushing down those feelings, is we're pushing that weight, we're pushing that beach ball deep down, and we're not able to like actually feel the feeling. And so it just gets pushed away. And what we do then is instead, what we should do is we should create like a container around it. If I let myself feel, so what we do is we create this container around feelings, and we've created these stories, rather. Maybe it's a better way to say that rather than container. We have created stories around these feelings. And we've said to ourselves, if I allow myself to feel fear, then I'm never going to get out of it, right? Like I'm never going to get out of fear. And that's what our brain is telling us. Our brain is telling us that if we decide that we are going to allow ourselves to be afraid, we're never going to get out of the fear. And our brain is just trying to keep us safe. You know, that's that ego part of our brain, that critic part of our brain. They're just trying to keep us safe. So we can just think, our brain, our rude brain, as I call it, hey, thanks for keeping me safe. But I know, because I've had other experiences in my life when I've had fear, that I'm going to be able to come out of this fear. And so to feel the feeling means that we're going to keep feeling that thing, and to thank our brain for keeping us safe. And then when we thank it and we actually feel the feeling and we let that beach ball just be up on the top of the water and allow it to just float on the water, what happens is the beach ball floats away, which means the feeling then floats away from us. We're actually feeling the feeling. We're just letting it be on the top of the water. We're feeling it out, and we're allowing ourselves to just be. And what we can do is, if we do have like that fear of we're never going to get out of it, if we told ourselves that story, that if I keep feeling this feeling, I'm never going to get out of this feeling, is we put a timer on, you know, for the next, 5 minutes, I'm going to sit here and allow this fear feeling to be in the pit of my stomach, or to be in my chest, or wherever that feeling is for you. And I'm just going to allow myself to feel it. And you're just going to feel, and you're going to allow it, because once you actually feel the feeling thoroughly, it's so much easier just to let that beach ball kind of like float away from us. We don't get stuck in it, because then we felt it. We're not struggling against it. And something that really helps me to understand about feelings, that I'm really learning, is feelings are energy. And so they're vibrations. It's just a vibration going through the body. That feeling that we have, it's a vibration. And the thing is that it's a feeling that can go through the body. It's not a vibration that gets in and stuck unless we're holding it down and we're not feeling it. If we feel it out, it's a vibration that just goes through our body. It goes in and comes out, just like the food we eat goes in and it comes out. And so it's the vibration that goes through us, and the feelings that go through our bodies, when we remind ourselves that they're just vibrations that go through our bodies, they can't hurt us, really. Feelings in and of themselves cannot hurt us. Feelings in and of themselves cannot kill us. Feelings in and of themselves are nothing but vibrations that go through the body. And if we can remind ourselves too, that our lives are both positive and negative. We're going to have both positive and negative experiences. No matter what we do, we cannot stop ourselves from having negative experiences. As someone who is a recovering people pleaser, and I know a lot of you guys are, let's connect this to that people pleasing thing. There's only 50% of the time in our life we're able to actually please someone, right? And the other 50% of the time, no matter what we do, we're not going to be able to please other people. So if we can actually connect ourselves to that thought, that is so helpful sometimes, and allows us to feel our feelings rather than actually trying to stymie them, push them down, and try to please other people and push our own feelings away. So that is very helpful for me as someone who is a recovering people pleaser and or perfectionist and or person who wants, external approval. And something else that I've really learned about sitting with my feelings is that the more that I do it and the more that you do it and actually feel the feeling, the more you're going to realize that feelings are actually powers. They're actually superpowers. And they make us more powerful because they're pointers to information that we need to address. They're pointers to information and things about ourselves or situations or relationships or whatever it is that they point to it. If we feel a certain way about our jobs, or we feel a certain feeling in a relationship, or we feel a certain feeling with a task that we have to do, that is pointing to us to look at that thing and really understand. It's an opportunity to understand why we feel that way about that thing. What is it pointing us to? There's something that is not aligning within us with our value system that we need to address. And so feelings are the vibrations and pointers that we can utilize to grow and become our most favorite self. I hope this was helpful for you. My challenge question for you actually it's not even a question, it's a challenge today, is to sit with a feeling that you feel that you normally, when you recognize it, would push away. Sit with it for 2 minutes. Sit with it and describe it. Write it down, what that feeling feels like. The shape, texture, color, the sensation in your body, where it is in your body, and label it. Do that today with some kind of a negative feeling that you're feeling and start logging them. And then you'll recognize where that feeling comes up again and see where it's pointing to. All right. Have a great day.